The Galactic Academy's Xenobiology practical arena fell silent as the Craventi Cub's warning display lit up the observation deck screens. Lieutenant Maya Rodriguez watched through the reinforced glass as the young predator, barely 6 months old but already the size of a full-grown Earth lion, bared rows of crystalline teeth at the human instructor below. Containment breach in Sector 7, the automated voice announced with unsettling calm. Every non-human instructor in the observation deck froze. The Zentarii flight commander's feathers went flat against his skull. The Morvani engineering professor's tentacles pulled tight against her body. Even Commander Thelos, the station's Vorkeen security chief, took an involuntary step backward, his 4 eyes wide with instinctual fear. Below, completely isolated in the arena with 15 feet of apex predator between her and the exit, stood Dr. Emily Watson. The 52-year-old xenozoologist from Texas didn't even look up from her datapad. Fascinating, Emily murmured, tapping notes into her device. Threat display initiated at 12 seconds. Definitely faster than the literature suggests. The Craventi Cub, designation K7, though Emily had taken to calling him Junior, took a stalking step forward. His dorsal spines rippled with bioluminescent threat patterns that had evolved over millions of years to paralyze prey species with terror. In the observation deck, a Palaxian student actually whimpered. Emily glanced up, met the cub's 6 glowing eyes, and grinned. "Nice try, buddy," she said, her voice carrying clearly through the arena's audio system. "But you're about 3 million years too late to scare a human." She took a deliberate step toward the cub. "Dr. Watson, please evacuate immediately." Commander Thelos's voice crackled through the intercom, strained with barely controlled panic. "That creature is exhibiting pre-attack behavior." "Oh, I know," Emily replied cheerfully, taking another step. "He's doing exactly what the manual says he should do. Aren't you, Junior?" The cub's snarl deepened, a sound that resonated in frequencies designed to trigger flight responses in every sentient species known to the galaxy. Every species except one. Emily kept walking. In the observation deck, Maya found herself holding her breath. She'd served with humans for 3 years now, ever since Earth had joined the Galactic Coalition, but she still sometimes forgot just how differently they were wired. The other species in the galaxy had evolved on worlds where they were prey, or at best, mid-level omnivores. Humanity had clawed its way to the top of Earth's food chain through sheer stubborn determination, developing a predator's mindset wrapped in social cooperation. Where other species saw an apex predator and thought, "Run," humans saw a challenge. Junior's threat display intensified. He rose on his hind legs, extending to his full height, dorsal spines fully erect and glowing like a constellation of warning stars. Emily stopped about 6 feet away and crossed her arms. "You done?" she asked. The cub held the pose for another 3 seconds, then slowly lowered back to all fours, his spines dimming. His head tilted in what could only be described as confusion. "That's what I thought." Emily pulled a protein cube from her pocket, specially formulated Craventi juvenile nutrition, and tossed it gently toward the cub. "The thing is, Junior, your threat display works on species that evolved being afraid of predators. Humans. We evolved being the thing that made predators afraid." Junior sniffed the cube suspiciously, then snatched it up and began chewing. Emily turned to face the observation deck, completely turning her back on the young predator. You see, when a Craventi cub does a threat display, he's expecting one of 2 responses, flee or submit. What he's not expecting is indifference. And that breaks the script. She walked calmly toward the exit, and Junior, now more interested in the protein cube than posturing, didn't even look up. As the arena door sealed behind Emily, the observation deck erupted in a mixture of relieved chittering, nervous laughter, and awed silence. Commander Thelos approached her, his skin still showing stress patterns. "Dr. Watson, that was extraordinarily reckless. That cub could have killed you." "Could he?" Emily raised an eyebrow. "Commander, Junior weighs about 400 pounds and has reflexes fast enough to snatch a hover drone out of the air." If he'd wanted to attack, I'd have never made it 3 steps. But he didn't want to attack, he wanted to scare me into backing off so he could feel secure in his space. But you weren't scared, Maya said, fascinated despite herself. Oh, I was scared, Emily corrected with a laugh. I'm not stupid. But being scared and showing fear are 2 different things. Humans learned a long time ago that sometimes the only way past a predator is through. We've been staring down saber-toothed cats, cave bears, and wolves since before we invented fire. We learned to turn that fear into focus. She pulled out her datapad and brought up the biometric readings from her encounter. See. Elevated heart rate, adrenaline spike, heightened sensory awareness, all the physiological markers of fear. But we evolved to function through it, not freeze because of it. Fellows studied the data with his 4 eyes, his translator struggling to convey his bewilderment. Your species weaponized fear? No, Emily said softly, looking back through the glass at Junior, who was now contentedly grooming himself. We just refuse to let it control us. That's what makes us human. It's not that we're not afraid, it's that we do things anyway. She turned to the assembled students and instructors. And that, ladies, gentlemen, and assorted sentients, is today's practical lesson. Understanding a species isn't just about knowing their biology or their threat displays. It's about understanding how different evolutionary paths create different responses to the same stimulus. For most of you, predator equals danger equals flee. For humans, predator equals challenge equals assess and respond. Maya watched as Emily pulled up the full behavioral analysis, already composing her lecture notes for the next class. The woman had just faced down a creature that could have torn her apart, and she was treating it like any other Tuesday. That's when Maya truly understood why the coalition had been so eager to recruit humanity. It wasn't their technology or their numbers. It was this absolute refusal to be intimidated by the universe's horrors. As if to punctuate the thought, Junior pressed his face against the arena glass and made a small chirping sound. Emily smiled and waved. Yeah. I'll bring you extra treats tomorrow. The predator cub that had terrified an entire room of galactic citizens wagged his tail like an overgrown puppy.